Okay, everybody, I am really honored today to have Nina Kiri join me, who plays Alma on The Handmaid's Tale. What is special about this interview in particular is that this is the first time I'm having someone on for a second time, and it's the right person because Nina was one of the first people who actually came on my show when I didn't have much of a following, so she gave me a chance before nobody else, and that just shows you the type of person she actually is off screen. So I'm happy to talk to her again. How are you doing today, Nina?
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, thank you. I'm happy to talk to you, and I'm happy to be here. But I'm good.
Good, good. Yeah, and I'm excited to talk to you because it seems like in the past couple episodes there's been a lot of Alma and a lot of just drama in that loaves and fishes store, which I feel like is Alma's home base in a way. I want to talk about in the episode first where of Matthew actually rats June out. Earlier in that episode in Loaves and Fishes, you're the one who's always kind of pulling June aside by saying certain lingos to like make sure no one's catching on. You guys are chatting about other stuff, but in
Uh-huh.
particular, you say in that episode about fruit cocktails being over there, and June even says like, "Really?" And you're like, "I'm not amazing at improv." What
Yeah.
I'm wondering is, do you think Alma ever connected how much of a mess up that actually was? Because that really was what started getting of Matthew kind of onto them in that particular moment. Do you think Alma kind of connects in any way that that's started the boat to that Martha being hung in that episode?
I think that I I think the thing about Gilead is that because everybody's so separated into their own houses and they only get to meet in these common spaces, I think there's a little bit of dissonance between what what they think they know, what they think they're going to give away, and what they think they're not going to give away. Does that make sense? Like, for
Yeah.
example, Alma is coming into this situation. She's had many of these conversations with June. She knows of Matthew's weird and super pious, but I think that just like anybody, she's coming at it from her own knowledge, her own experience, her own background. So I don't know how much she thinks that of Matthew is onto all of them
Hmm.
and how what the repercussions of that could be.
Right.
But I think that like she's doing what they've always done and not I don't think that she thinks that it's going to end up being what it is with
Right.
of Matthew.
Okay, so in that kind of mindset that you're explaining of Alma, later on after the next episode, there was a huge debate online and a lot of like even from my take too, it was hard to just there's a lot to take in seeing kind of the bullying of Matthew after the handmaids kind of figure out that she was the rat.
Yeah.
From Alma's perspective, I mean, no, I'm gonna actually go with this. From Nina's perspective, do you think Alma was too harsh in that episode, especially with the crybaby moment with them all kind of gang up on her, or did you feel there is some justification there? And from Alma's perspective, it makes sense. Like, do you side with her in a way?
Well, from my own Nina's perspective, no, I don't side with what they did.
Okay.
I think that again, from Alma's perspective, it's you're in this place, you're in a completely you're taken away from all your friends, you're in your own home. You I think that you start to rely on herd mentality to a certain extent. Like, I don't think that any normal sane person would be so cruel to someone. But I think about, people in high school, people in groups, you get into this kind of like spiral with everybody else, and everybody else is doing it. And also, you start to see black and white really
Right.
like finally. And I think that that's an example. At least that's how I interpreted it at the time, because yeah, it was just like, what? This
Mm-hmm.
is insanely cruel.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it starts from June being insanely cruel because she's literally going off the rocker.
Right.
And then, I think we all kind of are by this point in Gilead. And I think that being in those situations, and I think that herd mentality is so much stronger. And I think that that's what pushes at least Alma, but I think a lot of people to do those things without normally having done that. And also, you know, like they have had these established relationships with June before, whereas of Matthew, from the way I saw it, I didn't know her very well. She had already been in the system while I was still at the Red Center, you know, and all I know about her is that she's just like had all these kids for them. She's pious. She's a breeder. She's a part of Gilead. And then on top of that, she does these things. She ends up making these casualties for people that are on my side and on the side of the resistance. And so it's like, you know, any normal person would be like, you know, that's not cool. But this is all extreme situations. And I think extreme situations breed extreme hate and extreme reactions.
Yeah. I think that's awesome explanation, and it makes complete sense. And yeah, and it kind of hits just that, like, you're all victims, you know, and it's like it's like such a cruel world that it's almost like the whole, like, cruel Gilead's fault in a way, and you're all just trying to do the best you can. And I think it's really eye-opening what makes this season so strong. And I wanted to ask you, too, in the last week's episode 10, called Witness, we learned a big thing, that Alma has a son, Dylan, who's now named Josh, and that he's blonde, and that Alma's into the blondes because his father was blonde. Did you, like, something, this is like a big reveal for Alma, so for such a mysterious character to the audience of Alma, I mean, are you creating a backstory in your head for this type of character? And were you kind of involved in the decision of, like, oh, she has a son now? Or, like, was that kind of brought up to you? Like, how does that, like, even come about in a way?
Come up? That's a really good question. I mean, for me, I think because of the nature of the way I've been on the show and the way I've come to have this character, it's been very much, I hear things and I have to interpret them. And there's been, I've had some really great discussions with the writers. They always come on set for at least a couple of days, and it's such a nice moment. Everyone's like, oh my God, yay, there's a writer here. We can talk about things. Right. And it's really nice to have that, like, connection and be able to talk to them about your character and about what's happening. But with Alma, I had no idea that would be a thing. The way that I had built my character around her was that every time I had found this new information about her coming from literally just reading an episode, I would add that to the entire story of how I saw Alma. And it really helped me to approach it. Like, I feel like my entire experience with this show and the way that I've approached my character has been very, like, I'm just going to put myself in this situation based off of the limited information that I know and work off of what I have lines-wise and environment-wise. Like, I just always remember my first day on the first episode of the first season, and I had really nothing to work off of other than, you know, one quick, like, one-line description of who Alma was.
Right.
And I think that because of that, I've learned to slowly piece it together and base it more off of what she's saying and what she's surrounded by and her reaction to that surrounding. Like, for example, in the first season, her reactions were incredibly light compared to everybody else's. Like, in every situation that you saw her, everyone else had these, you know, dark, scared, stressed out, tense faces and feelings and words. And then, like, the first second you see her, she's, like, laughing and smiling, being super creepily normal. And that was, like, a really great insight. And ever since, and then, you know, like, the second episode of that season, I was talking to Bruce Miller, the showrunner, and he was like, man, I love that Alma is why is she smiling? Why is she, you know, why in the first episode is she the only person who has this big smile on her face? And I was like, I think it's really interesting. So I think I've, worked off of building her based on situations and based off of the little snippets of information I can find. And for this specific episode, when we have that reveal about her backstory, I had no idea about that before. Right. I saw it when I read that episode, and then I kind of added to what I had already thought about her based on when I heard that.
Interesting. So I'm wondering, too, from speaking to Alma herself, you're talking about just, too, how the audience perceives Alma and, like, again, the smiling. And I think a big thing people always say about Alma is that compared to June, where June's kind of chaotic and Janine's just very like intense in her own ways, but Alma's like this rock, I always feel like, of that group, and there's like a strength that comes from her, and I wonder where do you think that might come from in Alma? Like where is that truth, if that makes sense?
I do think that, especially after I found out about the kid, I think that she is very young. I think she is younger than June. I think she's younger than Moira. And from the beginning, I kind of always saw her as a younger handmaid. Like she's in her early 20s as opposed to early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And once I found out about the kid, I thought to myself, like, this could actually be a lot of solution to as to why she is the way she is. You know,
Right.
like she had this kid. She's obviously younger than them. It's kind of been alluded to before. And maybe that has to do with why she's so precise about what she's doing, because she has that youthful energy to go far in the resistance, but she's very collected and precise about what she's doing.
Right.
And I think that could be, at least the way I saw it, due to, you know, having made some mature decisions and having had probably this kid when she was way younger than most people are when you have a kid. Because, you know, she didn't have the kid in Gilead. She had it pre-Gilead, meaning she had it probably when she was either very like late teens or early 20s. I think that could, I don't know, that was kind of a cool revelation for me. I was like, maybe, because I agree with you. I do think she's super precise, to the point that sometimes it's like, oh wow, like I thought Alma would be doing more in the resistance and she didn't, or you know, and it's like, well, maybe that's why, because she's being extra careful, and that was interesting to find out about, because it kind of gave insight to that, to what you're saying about her precision.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that was really exciting to see that, and like giving Alma more like info, because again, she's to the audience been so mysterious, which I think makes people excited too, because we've known her for 3 seasons, and as the actress of Alma, I mean, compared to like you've been in like a ton of films, and I'm just like seeing it as with films, you're acting in it, and then that character's done. You know, the story's wrapped up, you move on, but you've been doing Alma for 3 seasons. So many episodes and over a span of years, and I wonder, like, do you get attached to the character and almost like it's like you're protective of it, it's like your baby? So do you get like, is it deeper than just a role now? Is it more like there is a connection for Nina to Alma here, and that even when you find more information about her, like you're kind of nervous because you don't want it to like maybe be tarnished in your head? Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I know what you're saying. I have to say, I think I have more of a connection to the entire show.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if I feel as I think that Alma as a character, like I love that character, and I know that that's who I am in the show, and that's so nice to get to come back to. But even nicer than that is coming back to everyone who works on the show. I think that I'm more of a people person in that way, and I have to say that so many times with Alma, her coming to life becomes much stronger when she's surrounded by her peers. So like,
Right.
I feel like, to me, my favorite moments, and you know, all of my moments are always around other handmaids, and usually they're around June, and those are always the most powerful, because I think that she's the type of character who comes to life around other people. Like she's super social. She's always around. She's always talking. She's always gossiping. She's always, she comes to life within social situations. And I feel like I'm like that too. And so with regards to both that character and the way I feel about her, I think that much of it is based off of her position within a social situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally. And off of that, I mean, if I was to ask you how much of Nina Kiri is in Alma, like, would it be like, no, that she's nothing like me, or is there like, oh yeah, no, I act like that sometimes, or like, do you feel that?
Actually, and I have to say, I've never been on a show for this long, and I think that when I do films, and I'm like, okay, so last year I did this film where the character I played was extremely different than me, and I really worked really hard on her because I was just kind of like, holy shit, oh my God, and I did like weeks and weeks of prep on it, and on the shoot I actually and my director didn't let me speak to people, and I honestly didn't really for the first 2 weeks. Wasn't really close with the crew, wasn't close with other actors, because I knew what I'm like, and I love people, so I will. So I was just like, I really just can't associate right now because I know I just don't want me to creep into her. Anyway, all that is to say that with Alma, I think there are a lot of things that I do that are similar to her, but I've had to consciously, when I come on set, be like, okay, this is my time to say hi to everybody, to be with everybody, but I have to completely tone it down and bring it back and come back to those things. And this is why I said what I said about her in social situations, because it's always really helped me to sit in Gilead for a second before we start shooting or while we're doing rehearsals, because it always centers me and always gives me that opportunity to be like, this is where I am right now. And I have to say, Lizzie is a huge factor in that, because she is such an incredible actor that when I'm in scenes with her, I'm just like, okay, this is where I am. Great. Like she just brings me back within the scene. And that is always really helpful to me. But yeah, it's a new experience for me too. And just because of the nature of it being, we're always in these social situations, that it is easy for me to sometimes be like myself. And then I really have to take a second and be there and be like, no, this is not fun. And this is not what's happening. And especially because the show has become really special to everybody. And especially me forgetting I'm from Toronto and I've been there since the beginning. So it is easy to be like, oh my God, I'm here. Oh God, so relaxed. I don't care. I'm almost too comfortable. So I have to say that, that's a good question, because I definitely have to actively think about that.
So I feel like too, anytime I see loaves and fishes come on the screen, which is a lot in season 3, I get excited because then I know Alma's around the corner, and then I get more excited because anytime I see Alma, I know there's going to be a big plot point and the plot's going to move forward in some way. We're going to get some cool information. And I think the whole audience always, when I go on even the Handmaid's Tale Reddit, anytime I see anything about Alma, it's excitement. People are like, oh, Alma's the best.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I'm with that because I always know something, there's again, it adds to that mystery of the character too. But I'm wondering, because Loaves and Fishes is a lot in the season, and there's been a lot of big scenes there with Alma. Are you guys shooting this out of sequence, or are you shooting this in line with the story? And are you doing this all in 2 days at that place, or can you kind of explain that? Is it challenging? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do we use that location, shoot out the scene? No, we don't do it in sequence. There was actually, because Yvonne had a child, in real life, we actually shot a lot of stuff before she came in. And then, so that was an interesting way of shooting it this season, where we shot a lot of the episodes, every part that she wasn't in, which wouldn't pertain to me anyways, because we're usually not in scenes together. But anyway, and then we shot everything with her. So the way it worked was, I think all of the loaves and fishes scenes we did throughout the year, because there were so many different ones, and it's a location outside of Toronto that's an hour and a half away. It's this store that they've renamed Loaves and Fishes. But every time I'm there, it's Loaves and Fishes, and I don't know what happens when we leave. I don't know if they have a year-long lease. And it just stays Loaves and Fishes. I actually have no idea. But
that's really funny, because
we shoot there at different times.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like Loaves and Fishes is coming a little bit iconic, kind of like the Scoops Ahoy and Stranger Things or something like that, where it's are they gonna have pop-up stores of Loaves and Fishes? Because I just feel, I don't know, I feel like if there is a situation, but I gotta.
It's such a cool location. Every time I go there, I'm like, this is the pinnacle of set design. It's insane. It's awesome. It's these pastel colors, these. Everything is, there's no writing on anything. It's really, really cool to see a So I too
Yeah.
am a fan.
Yeah, it's
of
really, really cool. So now shifting gears from the serious part of Handmaid's Tale to actually the fun part. It seems like you guys always have on set, and I really love your Instagram. There is a clip you shared of you all dancing, and you called yourself that day the set choreographer, and Ann Dowd is like counting, and you guys are all dancing when you're all lined up. Can you just explain how this happened, or what exactly was going on?
Yeah, so for a while now, me and my friend Bahia, who is also on the show, we
Yes.
always hang out together, and she plays Brianna. And for a long time, I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to do a dance, like maybe even just like me and you in our costumes. It just seemed like the thing to do. We're all in an outfit together. Like, it just, to me,
Yeah.
that screams like choreographed dance. And so then I was thinking about it for a while, and then this one day, it was the day that we shot the Crybaby scene of Matthew, and it was a really long day. We were in this place for a long time, all sitting there. I think everyone was a little bit, after scenes like that, it's tiring. Everyone's just sitting there doing the same thing over and over again. And it was the end of that day, and I was like, there was this moment where we had to set up for another scene, but it was super easy. So every single actor and all of our background performers just all happened to be there with time to spare. And I was like, you guys, if there was ever a time to do a dance, it would be now. And so Bahia and Ashley, who plays up Matthew, were like, okay, sure, like, what's the dance? And I was just like, okay. And I just like made up this dance, and Lizzie was sitting right there, and she's like, you guys should do it. Like, the three of you should do it. And I was like, okay. And then I taught them in like 2 seconds, because it was a super simple dance. And then I was like, and then Lizzie was like, well, maybe like I'll do it too, or like, you know what I mean? I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like we should all do it. So then me, Ashley, and Bahia go out. The background are all like in their formation, waiting for the scene to start. And we just quickly, like, we each take a line and teach that line the dance. And they learn in 2 seconds flat.
Wow.
Maddie comes running along. I don't know where she was, probably like somewhere else. She goes, what is everybody doing? And we're like, oh, we just like did this. We're just like gonna do this dance, okay? And she's like, okay. And I teach her, and then Mike Barker, who's the director, he's directed the most episodes, and when I say I'm too comfortable on set, I think it's because when he's around, I feel so. I'm just like, oh, I own this place. Like, this is my place. So I'm like, Barker, we're doing this. And he's like, oh, okay, fine. He's like, how do you want it, director? And I'm like, okay, so I want a camera here, and then we'll do a camera here. So we actually had 2 different cameras getting the scene. And so and then I was like, and I think it would be good if we made it seem like, because we were about to shoot this scene where Aunt Lydia just goes around us really in this scary, dark way, and then dismisses each of us one by one. And I was like, I feel like it should be that. Everyone's still, and then we'll just do the dance. Like, how funny would that be? And so then and then it was insane. Like, we never even practiced it. They were like, Nina, and I also like, I don't want to be that person on set who's like wasting everyone's time. Like, okay, guys, we have to do the dance. I was like, we literally have one take to do it, because everyone like is tired. Everyone wants to go home. Like, this isn't the Alma dance show. So I was like, okay, let's just try it. And we just did it once. Everyone did it perfectly. And then it was just done. And we were so happy. Like, it ended, and we all just like, oh my God. But he was like, Nina, oh my God, I can't believe it. And we were all just, it just gave us all so much happiness to do just a random fun thing on set. And so, then once we made that, other people saw, like Yvonne and Amanda, and so then they did their own versions of dances. But
oh my God,
you
that's
know,
great.
it all started that fateful day, and it was just like a nice, fun thing to do.
Yeah, and you're making, whoever makes the blooper reel for season 3, you're helping them do their job. So props to you, Nina. Also, I was also wondering too, like, when you're talking about these extras that are around, and then like the new cast member of Matthew. Do you think there's like, because if I was a girl and I was an extra and I was a handmaid that day, I'd be insanely intimidated by seeing you and Maddie on set, because you guys have been in the show so long, you're so respected. Like, do you feel vibes of people being nervous around you guys? Like, oh, do we fit in with them? Like, and like, or you guys feel like you're chill and like everyone kind of just eases up around you guys?
I think that I felt that before where I'm like, oh man, I feel like this person's intimidated or nervous, or a couple of times like they'll just be like, hey, can we take a picture with you? And it's super
Yeah.
nice. It's not, nervous. But I think that I've just I'm just the type of person where I want people to feel comfortable around me. So I
Yeah.
think that usually we don't really we all talk a lot and
Yeah.
discuss things. And also, there's a lot of background performers on Handmaid's Tale who have been there since the beginning.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, and so you see them and you're like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? Like, oh, yeah, this is what we're doing today. Yeah, it's going to be hard because of this and this. And, they're really, really great. And a huge reason why the show is as good as it is because of the background performers. And like,
Yes.
I think everybody on set acknowledges that. Like, I remember when we finished the very first season, our first AD of that season yelled out, thank you to our background performers. You have made this show what it is. And I
That's
think that
amazing.
they are really respected on that show. So there really isn't, I mean, just like any set and anyone knows, there always is that sort of, I don't even like the difference between, okay, this person is a background performer versus this person is an actor, but it isn't as strong on that show because the background really are respected in the sense that they are really, really good. And they're also they're just nice girls. Like we're all kind of the same age. And so it's nice to I think there definitely is moments where like, they're kind of like intimidated. They wouldn't necessarily talk to all of us. And also we don't know all of them personally the way we know each other personally.
Yeah.
Like, the way me, Bahia, Ashley, Maddie will be hanging out. And of course, when we're all on set, we'll be talking to each other because we know each other. But there's a lot of background who I've seen so many times that you're able to be like, oh, like, Ashley, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. So I think that's the general vibe with
Yeah.
with the background.
So I want people to know listening too that shifting gears off Handmaids, Nina Kiri is also a creator, a director, a writer. She wears many hats. She's been doing for a little bit now. Blood, the web series, season 2 recently came out, and I see that it was nominated for Outstanding Achievement in Writing at the NYC Web Fest. How did that feel being recognized for something like this?
It was really, really cool. Like Blood is such a just random ad hoc. Me and a couple of people that I get along with really well just decided to make this thing. And so to be able to go, I didn't end up going, but Sam and Eli were at the Web Fest, and I was like, oh my God, we're up against, there's this show called Dreaming Wolf Black, and it's one of my favorite web series. And I was like, the fact that we're nominated with this show, which is actually, has money behind it and is an incredible show, it just felt cool because for us, it was just this random little thing that we did. But yeah, that was really cool. I actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because this weekend I wrote a short film that I'm directing this weekend, and it's my first on my own wrote it.
Oh my
God,
God,
it's also drama,
that's awesome.
not comedy. So last night I had this nightmare that I got on set, and I was like, everything went wrong because it's my first time. With Blood, it's super we're all friends. We do this. Whereas this is I'm actually working with actors who are union, and I have this producer, and actually Colin, who shoots Handmaid's Tale, Colin Watkinson, he's going to be shooting it. He's actually stopping in Toronto to shoot it before he goes back to LA. So it's it's just a bigger deal. So I guess last night that all hit me, and I was like, oh my God.
Oh, man.
But I'm really excited about it, and I think it's going to be cool. So I'll keep you posted on that.
Please do. And because you do all these things, creating, writing, directing, acting, do you have a personal favorite you like to do out of those?
No, actually. And I've really been, I think it's just a progression, and all of it is great. Some of the roles that I've gotten to play this year and last year as opposed to before have been so much more interesting than anything I've ever done. And I think that is so exciting. And then also getting to write and direct, I love it. I really like doing all of those things in different capacities. Like the first time I did a read through for this short, I actually like, oh my God, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I just get to be like here and work with these actors who were so good.
Right.
And it was a really, really cool feeling. But yeah, I don't think that there's one that I would like more.
Okay, so another question kind of like that, though, is I feel like I've seen you in horror. You do so much comedy with your web series, and obviously very serious with Handmaid's Tale. Is there a specific genre that pulls at you the most and that you'd want to be more involved with?
No, I think it'd be between drama and comedy.
And I was also going to ask, too, leading kind of off of that, I mean, you're already living out your dreams here, which is awesome and so inspirational to other actresses. But is there an ultimate dream you have of, like, when you're having not nightmares and you're actually having good dreams, where do you see yourself? Like, do you see yourself like this big director or getting an Oscar? Like, what's the ultimate dream for Nina Kiri?
Well, can I just first say my dreams are I dream about like eating brownies. I dream about like really simple things.
Okay.
Like people, I don't know, like people always say, oh, I had this dream and I'm like, I was eating thighs and brownies. Like, so anyways, my dreams are really simple. But I think in real life, my dreams are simple too. I think like anybody, I just want to be able to keep working, and I want to. Yeah. I really don't have this, like, in terms of, I don't know, awards or not awards. I really genuinely love doing this. And I think I'm so lucky to get to do it. And I would just hope to be able to, at bigger capacities, continue to live my life, work in what I'm working in, and be able to just do that. I mean, that would be incredible, because I think a lot of people, you know, aren't able to live off of a creative career, and I've been able to, and I think that's really, really special. So I hope to be able to continue to do that, and obviously to be writing more and directing more, and just kind of see where it goes. I really don't have specific goals, but I do have the wish to keep doing all three of those things to bigger capacity.
That is amazing. And I have to address the elephant in the room here. Your Instagram bio, it says you're a Yugo nostalgic. Now, if people don't know what that is, that's a super mini hatchback that had a hell of a run until 2008. Did you drive one? Do you still have one hiding anywhere?
Wait, no, because I was not referring to that. I was referring to a subgroup of people who were from the former Yugoslavia who feel nostalgic towards that country. So when I was born there, it was Yugoslavia. That's where I was born. I was born in Belgrade, the former Yugoslavia. And Yugoslavia was this really cool country because it was not a part of the Cold War. It kind of did its own thing as part of the non-aligned movement. And I think a big part of me, like anyone who's from a different country, who was born in a different country, and I have these like nostalgic feelings of like, wow, what would it have been like for me to have grown up in the former Yugoslavia? So it actually has nothing to do.
I thought you were just obsessed with these hatchbacks. I was like, all right, okay, I feel you.
You're like, great. No, that's really what all that is. And honestly, I feel like I should change my bio. It's political, but I just thought that, bios are supposed to be, who are you really as a person? It's like, well, that's one thing I've always been. I've always been really nostalgic of this country that doesn't exist anymore, that my whole family is from.
No, yeah, trust me, that's an amazing bio. That's on me. That's my shortcomings that I read that as a hatchback. Okay.
The elephant in the room. Why are you obsessed with this car? That's funny.
So closing out, please, everyone, I'm linking in my info on this video the web series Blood. You can watch it on YouTube. It's 2 seasons. They're quick episodes. They're great. It's quick wit. Kind of reminds me of Broad City. Please hit that info down below. Make sure to subscribe to that channel and give it comments, like, share it. And is there anything else you want to promote? I saw on IMDb you're going to be in Easyland and The Code. Can you tell us anything about these projects?
Yeah, Easyland is an incredible film that I'm really, really excited about. It may or may not be at TIFF this year,
Okay.
and I'm really, really stoked about it. It is actually in the movie. I do speak Serbian and English, and
Ooh.
further to what I just talked about with me being Yugo nostalgic, this was literally like the movie of my dreams, I will
Okay.
say,
Awesome.
because it was really, I worked with this director who I've worked with before, Sanja Živkovic, and she's also like Serbian Canadian.
Mm.
And I got to work with this woman, Mirjana Djokovic, who is who's kind of this like iconic actress of my parents' age in Serbia. And when they found out I
Mm.
was working with her, they were like, "Oh my God." And she was so incredible. And it was just this insanely cool shoot that we did in Toronto for this film. And it's a really special movie. I think a lot of people are going to like it. The Code, I actually shot that last year in LA, and it's this, all I can say is it's this sci-fi, Big Brothery film.
Mm.
I'm not sure when it's going to come out. I don't have much information about it because I think that once I finished, they were still filming and doing a lot of post-production, but that one was great too. But I'm mostly really excited about Easyland, which will be coming out soon.
And the project you mentioned that you're directing, that you're having nightmares about, do you have a timeline of when that might be coming out? Like, is there
So
like a goal, you know?
I'd like to submit next year to a couple festivals.
Okay.
So for now, I hopefully will just do it on Sunday,
Yeah.
and it will be fine. But then I'll see. I'll be editing and coloring and sound mixing everything.
Amazing.
Hopefully by the fall, and then I'll see where I want to submit and how I want to submit it to different festivals. But it should be, yeah, I'll see. I'll keep you posted. I think it should be by next year sometime, at least some sort of screening.
I can't wait. A lot on the plate for Nina. Again, keep checking her out in Handmaid's Tale every Wednesday at midnight. It drops in the U.S. Nina, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to have you on again. I can't wait for the hat trick to make it 3 times. Um,
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
Steve. It's so nice talking to you. It always is.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Praise be, Nina.
Praise be, and we'll talk soon.